Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something that, well, it might sound a little mundane at first glance, but it's actually a completely fascinating clash of history, extreme weather, and urban infrastructure. We are talking about the hidden world of plumbing right here in Providence, Rhode Island. So let's unpack the forces that are attacking these historic systems every single day. Now, you might be wondering, why do Providence's pipes face such a uniquely brutal battle? Maintaining a home in the city means you're going up against a combination of conditions that folks in other regions just simply never see. We aren't just talking about a leaky faucet here, we're talking about a relentless, year-round assault on the literal lifeblood of your home. It's basically a battleground hidden right behind your walls and beneath your floors. So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the Providence plumbing battleground. Then we'll cover the three major local threats, followed by a look at your city's specific water profile. After that, we'll talk about actually protecting your historic home. And finally, we'll wrap up by navigating Rhode Island codes. Okay, let's jump into Section 1, the Providence plumbing battleground. We're basically dealing with a trifecta of local challenges here: age, climate, and geography. First up, age. Think about neighborhoods like Smith Hill or Mount Pleasant. A massive chunk of the housing stock there was built between 1890 and 1930. That means we're dealing with gorgeous Victorian and colonial architecture, but it's housing original materials that are literally reaching the end of their lifespan. Second is climate. Rhode Island gets hit with brutal freeze-thaw cycles from November straight through March, putting immense physical stress on all that infrastructure. And finally, geography. Providence sits right at the head of Narragansett Bay, so if you're over in Fox Point or near the waterfront, you're battling corrosive salt air. Plus, the whole region sits on expansive clay soil, so it's not just one issue, it's three massive forces teaming up against your pipes. The joys of historic home ownership, right? Moving on to Section 2, three major local threats. Threat number 1 is the freeze-thaw cycle, and the mechanics of this are just brutal. From November to March, temps frequently drop way below 20 degrees. In Providence, so many of these historic homes have uninsulated crawl spaces or supply lines running right through unheated garages. So what happens? The water inside those exposed pipes freezes and it expands. That expanding ice literally splits copper and PVC wide open. And the really tricky part is that the leak often doesn't even show itself until the spring thaw arrives and the ice finally melts. Our second big threat is all about the actual materials inside your walls. On one hand, we have galvanized steel pipes. These are super common in pre-1960 homes in places like College Hill, Federal Hill, and the West End. These older pipes are incredibly insidious because they corrode from the inside out. To you, it might just seem like slow drains or low water pressure, but inside, they are rusting away, restricting water flow, and heavily contaminating your water with metal particles. Now contrast that with modern copper or PEX repiping. That's your permanent solution. It's corrosion resistant, gives you dramatically improved pressure, and is actually built to survive this specific environment. Threat number 3 is lurking right underground: clay soil and tree roots. The clay soil in Providence acts exactly like a giant sponge, expanding and contracting with moisture. This shifting literally moves foundation elements around and puts massive stress on your underground sewer laterals. When those older clay sewer pipes shift and crack, the mature tree roots, which, let's face it, are everywhere in Providence's established neighborhoods, they sneak right into those joints looking for water. This causes some truly massive blockages and basement backups. Throw in the groundwater pressure from the Woonasquatucket and Moshassuck rivers during the spring runoff, and your underground pipes are basically under constant assault. Let's move into Section 3, your city's water profile. Every single homeowner in Providence needs to know exactly what's flowing through their taps. Our water supply comes from the Scituate Reservoir, and generally speaking, the quality is excellent. Hard water, really not a major issue here, which is fantastic news for your appliances. But here is the absolutely crucial point: lead risk. If your home was built before 1986, you do face a risk of lead contamination from aging service lines and interior pipes. You absolutely should get your water tested if you haven't already. Also, take a look at the sewer type. Many older areas are still relying on combined sewer systems, which means heavy rains can directly impact your plumbing and potentially cause backups during severe storms. Here's another really important number to keep in mind: 50 to 70 psi. That is the standard municipal water pressure in Providence. But remember that geography we talked about? Older neighborhoods that are situated up on hills might experience lower pressure simply because of the elevation changes. If your pressure is dropping significantly below 50 and you live up on College Hill, it could just be the elevation, but it could also be those corroding galvanized pipes we mentioned earlier restricting your flow. All right, Section 4, protecting your historic home. Let's talk solutions.
We know that freeze-thaw cycle is enemy number one, so this three-step fall winterization process is absolutely your first line of defense. Step 1. Get some foam sleeves and insulate all those exposed pipes in your basements, crawl spaces, and exterior walls. Step 2. Before that very first freeze hits, you have got to disconnect and drain your outdoor hoses. Step 3. Head inside, shut off the exterior faucet valves, and then drain any of the remaining water out of the line. Knocking this out every single fall is exactly how you prevent those catastrophic spring bursts.
But what about when those deep, totally bitter, sub-zero Rhode Island nights actually set in? Here are some rapid-fire tactics for extreme cold. First, never ever let your thermostat drop below 55 degrees, even if you leave town. Second, open up the cabinet doors under your sinks. This simply lets the warm air from your house circulate around those hidden pipes. And third, this is an old classic for a very good reason, let your faucets drip just a little bit. Keeping that water moving makes it significantly harder for the ice to actually form and expand. Aside from winterizing, there is a massive financial upside to upgrading your systems. By swapping out older fixtures for modern, low-flow, water-sense-labeled alternatives, you can actually reduce your water consumption and your water bills by up to 30%. To put that in perspective, just one running toilet wastes up to 200 gallons a day. So upgrading your plumbing isn't just about preventing disasters, it is very much about active conservation and putting real money right back in your pocket. Finally, let's look at Section 5, Navigating Rhode Island Codes. So Rhode Island enforces the International Plumbing Code, but with some very specific state amendments layered on top through the State Building Code Commission. The main thing you need to know is when you actually need to pull a permit. Major projects definitely require one. That means installing a new water heater, any repiping projects, brand new fixture installations, and absolutely any sewer line work. But what doesn't need a permit? Just your basic, everyday fixture replacements, like swapping out a shower head and routine drain cleaning. You'll often hear that skipping permits creates legal and financial liability when problems surface years later, and that is 100% accurate. Pulling a permit isn't just annoying bureaucratic red tape. It is essential protection that ensures the work is inspected and actually meets safety codes. If you decide to bypass this, you aren't just risking a local fine. Unpermitted work can completely void your homeowner's insurance if a leak ends up causing damage. Plus, it can become a massive, stressful legal roadblock when you eventually try to sell your historic property. And speaking of legal responsibility, you definitely need to understand the property line rule. The Providence Water Supply Board does a great job maintaining the municipal infrastructure, but their responsibility stops right at your property line. Everything from the curb stop, that little valve usually near your sidewalk, all the way into your house and up to your fixtures is 100% your responsibility to maintain, repair, and replace. So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about freezing winters, shifting clay, aging galvanized steel, and strict local codes. Providence is such a beautiful, deeply historic city, but it definitely demands a lot from its infrastructure. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. Given the age of your neighborhood and those brutal New England elements we just discussed, what is the hidden state of the pipes behind your own walls right now? Don't wait for a spring flood to find out. Thanks for joining us.